Hey guys, welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday. How you all doing today?
Great. How are you?
Fantastic. How are you doing, Joe?
Great. How are you?
Baka's like, you guys are live. They don't know they're live.
I
Yeah,
know, and I didn't even pop out all the chats yet, man. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm so in trouble.
yeah.
Man,
Joe, come on,
I'm
man.
so behind. That's
Joe,
all
come
right.
on, man.
I'm not the host
Come
though,
on, man.
so I can do this on my own. I can do this on my own time.
Joe, I
What?
respect you so much. You're the most amazing person. Like, you're so humble.
It doesn't mean as
And
much when you shake your head like that. It's
what?
weird.
No, don't look at me when I'm saying things, man. Don't look at me when I'm talking to you.
Don't.
I'm just kidding. Honestly, you are amazing. And I love you so much.
Well, I love you too.
I wouldn't be half the man I am today without you.
Well, you'd be at least half.
Well, okay. But the question is which half? The left half or the right half, you know?
Dude, I don't know. How would I know?
The world will never know.
The world will never know. Welcome everybody. It's Don't Worry Wednesday, and Ryan's the
That's
host. Take it away.
right. All right. Welcome to everybody. Don't worry Wednesday, and I'm the host. I'm gonna take it away. This is the show where we talk about whatever issues are on your mind. Maybe it's the state of the world we're in and all the craziness that goes on. Maybe it's something in your family life. Maybe you've currently or recently had a pet die or are dealing with a death in the family. Whatever is going on in your life, feel free to share. This is the show where we talk about all of those kinds of issues and hope to encourage you and help you on your way. You know, most of the time you guys know what to do. You know how to solve your own problems. You don't need us. But it's nice to have a little bit of encouragement. It's nice to be able to get, your thoughts out and to hear other people's perspectives. You know, Joe and I have lived lives and we've come across a lot of failures and problems of our own. So hopefully we can guide you to go around those things or how to learn how to triumph over those things. And that's basically what we're here to do. Basically be a friend. So, yeah, feel free to leave a message in the chat for whatever you want to talk about. But also, if you want us to talk about a certain topic, feel free to put it in the chat. Feel free to also send us an email if you want to be anonymous. Princess has posted the email address there for you all, as well as the website. On the website, you can also post a topic for us. On that note, thank you, Princess, for being awesome and for coming to every one of our shows to help out in the chat and help out me and Joe with getting the topics and staying on topic. But yeah. So today we have the star of the show, Joseph Anderson, aka the Single Dual Joe.
AKA, I got a new one today.
Oh yeah, what'd you get? Oh, that's right, Josephine. Everybody, welcome Josephine.
It's
you
not
can feel free
focusing.
to tell the story on that.
It's not focusing.
No,
Yes.
it's not.
Man, but it says Josephine
Anderson.
This was my visitor pass. I drove my mom. My mom had some tests done at the hospital today, and so I got to be the one that drove and picked her up because my dad is up helping my brother, and so she needed a ride, and so I went and took her to the hospital and took her home and stuff, and and I got there, and it's so funny. They're like, okay, we need to see your driver's license. And they stuck my driver's license in this scanner thing, and they scanned it. And from that scan, they printed this name tag that said Josephine.
Instead of Joseph.
Instead of Joseph, which is really weird. And I was
Somehow
like,
I got an extra INE at the end of that.
Yeah, and like none of us noticed it until like way after I'd put it on, and then we were back there waiting for my mom to go back and stuff, and then I looked at my name tag and I was like, wait a second, this says Josephine on it.
I'm gonna get arrested because
So
that's not me.
right.
You're gonna
So
think I took someone else's name walking around.
right. So then I'm going and so I'm waiting forever. Like it took a while. It took a while to get her started and everything, and and then they had an emergency, so she was just back there waiting to even get started for a couple hours. And I was just sitting down, having a cup of coffee and, kind of answering some emails and stuff. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to just like go outside. It's a nice day outside. And so I was like, okay, where do I got to go? And then you have to check back in when you come back in because COVID. And so they got to like do all the checks and you go through all the different stuff and everything. And I handed my my tag to the guy, the check-in guy. And I was like, yep, I'm sorry, I'm just coming back inside. And he goes, Josephine. And I was like, I know. I don't know why it did that. He's like, well, that's your picture. Is your name Josephine?
Like,
no, it's Joseph. So anyway, they all got a kick out of that. And so did we. But anyway, so
That's great.
Yep. And apparently you can just be anybody you want at Sparrow Hospital. So yeah, that's just how it
Yeah.
is.
It's probably because your hair. It got confused.
Yeah, I'd be confused.
Mm-hmm.
But
Couldn't
Anyway.
quite tell with all that hair on your head.
I know,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Is that a Joseph or a Josephine?
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, yeah, fantastic. Well, so why don't we get into it, hey?
Yeah, I think that'd be a great
start
idea.
the show.
We should totally do that. We got some topics we should do, huh?
Yeah, we got some topics. I'm gonna go ahead and go down the list, and if you are here, feel free to let us know in the chat. So I'm looking for Sevlev, SK, Awkward, aka Pika, Jesse, Convulcan, Amira, Random, Catjet, Ian Lam, Vanna V, Meowletto, Baka. Oh, and Meowletto again. Okay.
Mm.
Cool.
Nice.
Oh, hey, no problem, Mar. Welcome.
Welcome.
Oh, also Marsh.
And Marshmallow. Welcome, Marshmallow.
Mar and Marsh.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome. Yeah. Sweet.
Oh, yeah, you just had to become a member. Yeah. That is interesting. That's one of those interesting things. In order to start a topic, you'd have to be a member. Now, it's free. You just got to put your email address in there.
Yeah. Otherwise, what happens is you get bots,
Mm-hmm.
and the bots will post 5,000 topics in one day. We had a website up, and we never really used it, but we left it alone for a couple of months, and we came back and it had over like 100,000 posts from bots. And so then I was like, well, I don't know what to do about that. So we left it for like another couple months. And then it had like 1 million posts from bots. It was crazy. And it was lagging so bad we couldn't delete a single post. We just had to wipe it.
Oh, and Meow was talking about the download problem. Okay, yeah. That makes sense too. Yeah,
so
you do
couldn't
have to be
download.
signed in order to download stuff.
Yep.
That's for sure. Yeah. So, Marsh, this is interesting. Marshmallow says, I joined the stream from like a year and a half ago and sat trying to figure out why I could not use the chat. And I realized, Joe, you don't have a beard. And I realized to come here. Did I have a beard on that episode? Her episode's from, wow.
Huh.
That was
I
a
don't
while
even remember
ago.
that.
You don't remember me having a beard?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
It was only for a short period of time.
Yep, just for a little while.
Yeah, it was about a year ago, though, right?
18.
Okay.
2018.
2018.
I had
so
the
that was a couple
beard.
of years
I
ago.
had the
Dang.
beard when we went on our videography trip.
That's right. Okay.
Mhm.
Good times, man.
Yeah.
Good times. All right. So in the chat, it looks like I have seen Meow Little.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with theirs. Baka Breaker's also here, so we'll do theirs next. Do they have 2 topics right now going on? We have one from March 3rd as well. So,
Yes.
Meow Little, we have your one that you just recently posted from March 3rd, today. But we also have your topics that you gave us last time we were doing Don't Worry Wednesday, last Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you like us to do? We can talk more about your topics you did last week, or we can talk about your current topic that you just posted this week. Current topic called Meow ... What would you prefer? Oh, the list from last time. Okay, perfect. We'll do that then.
Yeah.
Right in order. I like that.
Let's do it.
Okay. So you have quite a few topics here listed. I'm not sure. Princess, do you know how should we do this? Which topic should we be doing here?
It was the bottom half that you didn't get to for the topics of this one.
Okay, so
Do you want me to
probably
read
like
it?
lacking. Okay, so yeah, go for it.
So the topics that you kind of hadn't gotten the time to cover because it's a pretty big topic was being hard on myself, worrying too much, being overwhelmed, and self-harm, which actually fits kind of in with their newer topic that they posted.
Okay. I think we did talk a little bit about being hard on ourselves, but we could talk more about it for sure. Lack of determination, worrying too much, being overwhelmed, and self-harm. Okay, cool. Thank you. Thanks, Princess. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot to talk about with that kind of variety of topics. What's good about one of yours, which is number 7, it's called Worrying Too Much. Wow. Luckily, you're in the right place. This is Don't Worry Wednesday, where we try not to worry so much about things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've spent a lot of my life not worrying about stuff, and I've also spent a lot of my life watching other people worry about stuff. And I'll tell you, in the end, they spent a lot of energy for nothing. My mom can be like a super hardcore over worrier. And watching her stress herself out is a bit rough. And the thing is, it's not just rough on her, it's rough on everybody around her, you know, because it puts all this pressure that's unnecessary on everybody around her, and everyone's worried about her because she's stressing out. So it's a bit rough. So if we can have any impact on you on that field, I think that'll make your life a lot easier, and also a lot more enjoyable for you and for those around you. But anyways, I basically said that to give Joe some time so he could get all that stuff written down and think about what he's going to say.
Well, it was really easy to write it down because I just copied pasted it from what Princess wrote down, because Princess is the key to the success of this show. If you guys didn't know that.
That's right.
Right? Yeah. So boom, it's been said. You heard it today. So which ones are we on again?
We're going to be covering lack of determination.
Okay.
Being hard on yourself, worrying too much, being overwhelmed, and self-harm.
Okay.
There's quite a few topics, and we might even want to. Yeah, I mean, we can spend the time talking about them. It's like kind of back and forth, I guess.
Sure. Okay, so there's some interesting stuff, and you know, the lack of determination one sticks out to me because recently I discovered some new stuff about myself. We were in voice chat on Discord, whatever day, I think it was Saturday actually, and Ryan and I were on there with a whole bunch of you guys, and it was a way awesome time. And later on, there was a gal on there who was a psychology person, and she sent me a link to a personality test because, you know, we had talked about different personalities and stuff like that, but I had never done this particular one that kind of goes into a little bit more detail about personality style. What's that? Myers-Briggs? Okay. I was wondering if that was it, because it's just 16 personalities, the number 16 personalities.com, and you can take the test and they'll tell you what you are and everything like that. And they'll tell you kind of your different makeup. And for the longest time, I've identified myself as a melancholy or a C, cautious personality, you know, which basically means I'm introverted and I'm task oriented. So I'm introverted as opposed to extroverted. So I like to keep to myself. And I'm task oriented as opposed to people oriented. So I'm more focused on what I'm doing than the people around me. Right. And that gives me a lot of insight onto my internal workings and how I can motivate myself and how I can kind of turn my own crank, so to speak, and get myself to do what I know needs to be done. But this one went into a little bit more detail, and it gave me a few key insights as to different things I can focus on. Like if I'm starting to feel tired, or if I'm starting to feel like what's the point, or if I'm starting to feel, you know, just I don't have energy to do stuff, or I don't feel like doing anything, I just kind of feel like, you know, hanging out and not doing whatever. I realized through this particular test that I'm a bit of an idealist, and I look at how the world is shaped around me, and that's one of the most important things in my core for this personality type that I have. And I was like, so it was interesting, because as soon as I reminded myself of like the global implications of what I'm doing, or the impact it's going to have on other, you know, artists, on other, you know, like that, our whole mission here at Black Static and Swerve, like I automatically like got this real hit of motivation, determination, and everything. And so it was just tuning my mind into the things that that are important to me. And that's a key thing. I've heard this said so many different ways by so many different people. It's not even funny. Like, okay, if you want to be determined, or if you want to motivate yourself, or if you want to get things done, you've got to be in tune with what you want. And most of the time, it always, for most of my life and most of the books I've read and most of the audios I've listened to, it always came down to some kind of material dream or material goal. And that can be just fine. Like, you want some kind of material success, whether it's success in business, or you want to make $1 million, or you want to have whatever it is, you know, you want a certain kind of job, you want a certain lifestyle, you want a certain house, you want a certain car, you want to take vacations, you know, these types of lifestyle dreams can motivate people, and they do. The key though is not to get so focused on the reward, because then you become like, you get focused on stuff that's not as important. The most important part is who you are becoming and who you're helping along the way. Right? So, and what I discovered about my personality is like, yeah, one of the reasons I struggled so much was because that's just not an important aspect. All these material things, like I might be able to, you know, think about that a little bit, and it might move me forward a little bit, but the things that are going to make the big hit are, you know, how is this impacting the world? How am I impacting people who are coming after me? You know, those are the kinds of things that are really motivating. So, if you can find the things that turn your crank, you will tap into an endless determination. You will have fuel that you can just turn on at any given point in time. No matter how tired you are, no matter how out of it you are. And I would encourage you, 16personalities.com. And you could take that test. I think it took me like 7 to 10 minutes or something to answer the questions, you know, and then get to the point where I was like, oh, that's what I am. And then I started reading about it, and I was like, wow, that's who I am.
Do you remember your letters?
Yes, I'm INFJ. So introverted, intuitive, feeling, and judging.
F is for flippant. No, I'm just kidding.
Flip. Flippy. Yeah. Hey, Marshmallow's going through it right now. Yep. Hey, thanks. Thanks, Terry, for that. Yep. So I'm the INFJ. And hey, all right. Got another one. And apparently it's the rarest. 1% of the population is INFJ.
Nice.
And I think, Ryan, you're INFP?
I believe so.
So we're like real close. And yours is pretty rare too. So yeah, INFJ crew. Yeah, man.
Princess is ENFP apparently. So.
Oh, all right. Cool.
We're all NFP. Well, you're NFJ, but we all got NF going on.
Yeah, which means we're all green. We're all in that diplomat category. Interesting. But
Yeah.
it's just a really interesting thing. It's not necessary for you to go through all this kind of stuff, but it can. I just learned that it gave me some extra key insight into how I can motivate myself, because I can remind myself of those core things that are important to me. And then I can also notice when I'm in an area that it's like, okay, I feel in foreign territory here. I need to kind of, this is why I feel awkward, right? Because this isn't my normal place of being. This is not where I feel comfortable. And so and that helps me understand why I don't feel comfortable. So to tap into a little bit of that knowledge can really can make a difference. It's not necessarily something to dwell upon, but it's a tool that we can use. I love what Ryan was saying about worrying, and talking about, as a worrier, the impact isn't just yourself. It can be exhausting for you to worry. And I'm sure you've noticed that. Like when you go down the path of worry, you let your brain take you there. And it really is kind of an allowance. We allow our brain to go there. Most of the time, we don't try to go down a path of worry. It's just we kind of get swept up, and then without checking ourselves, we end up going in that direction. And it's exhausting. It will require a lot of energy from you to do that. And like Ryan was saying, I love how he said it, it's wasted energy, really. Because you could have used that energy doing something so much more productive. And what happens is it doesn't just affect you, it affects everybody around you too. Because when you're in that state, everybody else we all influence the world around us, whether we want to or not. Ryan said last week about, as a musician, music has a real influence on people at a deep level. It really does. And, one of the things we talked about early on is how important it is to make sure that as musicians, we're doing something that's good, that's promoting something good. Because if we're going to have the possibility of reaching a deep level of somebody's heart, we better make sure that our message is good, and it's going to be uplifting and empowering, and it's going to build people rather than make them feel addicted or make them feel just empty or despair or something. There's so much out there. And a guitarist friend of mine one time said that I was kind of going through some of this with him, and he contradicted me, and he said music's just a form of expression. It's not anything more than that. And I'm like, man, I'm telling you, music's powerful. Music can calm people. Music can rile people up. Music has, depending on the type of music I listen to regularly, I could be absolutely depressed, or I could be absolutely like, hey, happy, whatever. And just based on, and it's so weird because it's just vibrations. It's collections of vibrations that affect us. And then, but just the way that does it, we influence the world around us. Now, we do that to some level just by living. If we have a good attitude, we're going to project that. We're going to influence the world around us with a good attitude. If we're smiling, I dare you, go around and smile. Just put a big old grin on your face. It's tough with a mask on nowadays. But you got to really smile and really smile with your eyes.
really smile hard for people to see your eyes.
Yeah. Yep. And
your cheek is coming up.
That's right. But here's the thing that happens. You do that, you go around and paste a smile on your face, a real one, you're going to get people smiling back at you. You go and you put a frown like you've been, I don't know, sucking on vinegar or something like that, like this. You're going to get that. And it's because without knowing it, we impact the world around us. So those are some things to think about as you navigate this. Now, Ryan is really good at turning things around for me. I'll come to him. I'll be all hijacked sometimes, right? And I'll just be like, man, I might be stressed about a whole bunch of stuff. And I'll talk to Ryan and he'll fix me. It's amazing. So I'm going to turn it over to him and he can fix everybody.
I'll fix you something. I'll fix you a knuckle sandwich. No, I appreciate that, Joe. I try hard to make sure that I make a positive impact on people when I'm around them. We only have so much time in this world.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to make it the best time, right? We want to have the best time we can have. And we fight ourselves on that all the time. Like, I could have a really good time or I could have a really sour time. And for some reason, we pick the sour time. We're like, yeah, I just want to be terrible right now. I have this thing whenever anybody asks me how I'm doing, I say, I'm doing great. I'm doing awesome. I'm doing fantastic, whatever it is. But it's always a positive response. Because when they ask me, hey, how are you doing? I'm like, hey, Ryan, that's an attitude check. Where are you at? If you're not great, make yourself doing great right now and then live up to that. Tell them you're doing great. And then I'm like, okay, I'm doing great. All right, now act like it. So I can be hard on myself. It's good to be hard on yourself, right? You said your number 6 is, being hard on myself. That's the next topic, right? And it can be good. It's good to hold yourself high. It's good to critique yourself. You want to be the best version of yourself, you're going to need to do that. You're going to need to pay attention to yourself and see what you're doing wrong and see what you're doing right. So it's good to be hard on yourself. But my point of that statement was whenever I feel like life is down, whenever I feel like I've had a bad day or something like that, right? I can change it around in a moment because my attitude doesn't have to reflect everything that came before it. An example of this in your life is when you were 2, I bet you fell down because you were trying to walk and something happened and you fell down. But you're not experiencing that right now because you're not 2 anymore. And it's been many, 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 many days. Now, a lot of people say, oh, tomorrow's a new day, right? And so then that gives them hope for tomorrow. That makes them feel like, tomorrow I can have a better attitude and maybe tomorrow will be a good day. I wouldn't count on it. I wouldn't count on it. If today was a bad day, tomorrow's likely going to be a bad day too. Because that's how you're seeing the world. You're seeing the world as you're seeing your day as bad. You're going to likely see your next day as bad. But if you start to look at your days and you say, oh, they're good days. Even when all sorts of crazy bad stuff happens, you say, hey, this is a pretty good day. You're going to start to have good days tomorrow. You're going to start to have good days in the future. Why? Because how you look and what you focus on changes. You know, if you focus on, there's a great example out there, like you buy a new car, right? And you start driving around in your new car, and all of a sudden you notice there's a lot of people who have the same car as you. But you only notice that now because your brain is focused on the fact that you got this new car, and it's so cool. Maybe it's a new toy, and you start, you know, walking around, and you see a lot of other people have this toy, but you didn't notice that before you got it. Similar thing is, you know, when you are focused on getting a job or focused on a certain project, all of a sudden you'll notice things in the world that will relate to that project that you wouldn't have noticed otherwise because you weren't focusing on it, right? So if you focus on all the bad things in life, right? It's not that more bad things will happen to you, it's that the bad things will have more of an impact on you. And that'll make your day feel terrible. If you start to focus on what's happening that's good in life, it's not like any more good is going to happen to you than usual. It was going to happen anyways. But because your brain is focused on those things, your day is going to feel good, right? So when it comes to attitude and how you see the world, that can be fixed in a moment. We don't have to wait for tomorrow to come to go, hey, you know, tomorrow's a new day. Maybe I'll have a good day that day. We don't have to wait for that. We don't have to wait till, you know, if you fall down, you know, and you're trying to get back up, you don't have to wait till you get back up to have a better attitude. You can decide whenever you decide to say, hey, I'm going to have a better attitude. And it starts right now. And you start. You act like it, you know, you put a smile on your face, you laugh it off, and you go enjoy the rest of your day. Rather than going, oh, I fell down and now my arm hurts. And now the rest of my day's ruined because every time I lift an object, my arm hurts and blah, 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 right? No, you're not going to enjoy your day that way. So just make up your mind, right? When you fall down, you go as fast as you can, faster than you can stand up. You get your head up and you go, hey, I'm going to set myself straight here and not have a bad day right now. I'm going to have a good day starting right now. So that's basically when people ask me, right, how are you doing? I say, oh, I'm great. Because that's independent of everything that came before it, right? And that's a beautiful thing. Now, I said all of this, right, to help you remember that you can worry about all sorts of different things in life, right? But that's not going to change them. You can have a worry about something, but here's the thing. When you're worried about something and all you do is notice all the bad in it and complain about it, it sucks the life out of you. But if you worry about something and instead you go, what can I do about it? Let's do some research. Let's study up on this. Let's go talk to some people and see what we can get done. Now you've taken this worry and you've turned it into a huge positive, and you will feel great about your day, right? Now, some things in life, you will try to do this one. You'll try to make it positive. You'll try to bend what the situation, but you realize you have no control over it. You're like, I can't fix any of that. That's not like, it's not in my power. I don't have any control over that. Like global warming or something, right? Like, I can't do anything, you know? It is what it is. You know, I could do my little part, but beyond that, there's nothing I can do. Or maybe it's something like, my friend is not happy about my other friend. Well, I can talk to him. I already have, so nothing happened. All right, I can't do anything more. So once you get to that point where you can't do anything more, your brain is going to want to go, this is a problem, this is a problem, this is a problem. And it's going to cloud your mind and clog all of it up so you can't even think about anything except for the fact that there's this thing that you can't do anything about, and it's going to annoy the heck out of you. I'm sure you've been there. I know I've been there. That stinks. So what do you do when that happens? I think you do what you do Joe's famous line. Thank you, and you're dismissed. You know, you kind of just take your thought and you go, you know what? Yep, that's the reality. That's true. And you know what? That's okay. That's okay. I can't do anything about it anyways, so it's okay. Life will continue on. Life is fantastic, even with this issue. Life is fantastic for these people, even if that's the issue that they're going through. Because honestly, it's those issues that make us stronger. So, hey, cool. Cool beans. Now you're dismissed. Get out of here. And then do your best to do something else. Think about other things. Because, again, you're just going to stress yourself out, and it stinks. But when it comes to yourself, it's okay to worry about yourself, right? You are in control of you, and you have to make sure that you eat, right? Make sure you sleep, make sure you do well on your tests or whatever it is, right? And so those kind of things, they come naturally to worry about them. It's okay to worry to a degree, right? As long as you aren't stressing yourself out about it, right? So there's a healthy balance or a healthy sense of worry, which is more of concern. Just, hey, this is in my concern, and I'm going to see what I can do about it. And that's good. But if there's nothing you can do, you just got to let it go. Because it's not, if there's nothing you can do, then it's not your responsibility. And if there's nothing you can do, then you're just going to get in other people's way trying to do something about it when it's not in your place, right? Like, I've seen lots of people do that. I've done that, you know, get in other people's way because I'm worried about something and I overtalk and I talk to somebody else and I get them annoyed, you know, because I'm worrying about something that I don't have any business or issue in dealing with, you know? So irony, I had a driving class over the weekend. My teacher was named Ryan, and he said, "Cool beans." Nice. I like never say cool beans, but I figured I'd say it this time. So, hey, there you go.
You got a connection with the driving Ryan.
Yeah, with the driving instructor. That's fantastic. Yeah. But, okay, the one last thing I'm going to touch on is this before I give it back over to Joe, and that's being hard on yourself. Like I said before, it's good to be hard on yourself, right? As long as you're still your friend. You know, you can be hard on your friends as long as they respect you. If you have a friendship with somebody and you don't have the respect, if they don't respect you so much that you can go up and say, hey, you know, I notice you're doing this, you're going to want to stop. That's a bad habit, and I don't want you to get hurt. If you go up to someone like that and they have respect for you, they'll take that and they'll go, you're right, man. Thank you. You know, I appreciate you saying it, and you're right. I need to stop. I'm going to be working on that. Thanks. You know, it takes courage to come out and say something like that to a friend, and I appreciate it. If they don't have respect for you, you'll say that to them, and they'll be like, "Excuse me? Now go mind your own business. This is my issue." You know, like, they'll be upset with you, and they'll be like, "I don't even know if we're friends anymore. We're not friends. Like, you're just pointing out my flaws. I don't like that." The question is, do you have that kind of respect for yourself? When you point out your own flaws, do you take those flaws and do you just go, man, I'm a terrible person and I hate myself, and yeah, I am that stupid, and I should shut up, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, do you want to push yourself away? When you are hard on yourself, do you just want to push yourself away and shut yourself down, you know, like a bad friend? Or are you the person that is hard on yourself and you take the criticism and you say, you know what, I'm going to own up to this and I'm going to do the right thing? You say, yes, that's what I do. Okay. So if you do that, I want you to practice doing the other thing. Because here's the thing. You talk to a friend, right? I gave you that first scenario. You talk to your friend and you tell them, hey, I noticed this about you and I just want to help, right? They have the ability, even if they're compelled to be like, hey, we're not friends anymore, even if they feel that, they have the ability to make a choice at that moment to say, you know what? I'm not going to be a jerk. I'm going to be nice to this person and say, hey, I respect the fact that you just told me that, and I'm going to work on it. Will you help me work on it with me? They have that choice. And all it takes is one yes or no in their brain. Am I going to go down this path or this path? And if they choose that right path, you know what's going to happen? If they choose the right path, they are going to start to respect themselves so much. And they're going to start to respect you. Because they just spoke out and convinced themselves that you are worthy of respect. And it was all done in their own head by making one choice. And that was to listen to what you had to say. If you could do that for yourself, imagine the power. Because you can. All you have to do is when you are hard on yourself and you feel that, and it hurts, and it's guilt, and it just stinks, it's just awful. You just make that one choice and say, you know what? I'm going to be a good friend to me today. I'm going to respect myself today. I'm going to take this. I'm going to see where I can work on this. I'm not going to hold it against me because I'm a human. I'm going to fail. That's okay. I mean, I'm going to notice my failures more than anybody else's. Everybody fails just as much as me. It's just that I notice them because I don't want to. So I'm sick and tired of failing. I'm sick and tired of having a bad attitude. I'm going to try to have a good attitude about this. I'm going to treat myself with respect and treat myself to success by listening to myself and this complaint that I have about myself and saying, you know what? I'm going to take it and I'm going to move on to the next level. Let's do something about this, even if it's hard. Let's do something about this right here, right now, and start working on it. It's through that you start to have a good relationship with yourself. It's through that mentality of wanting the best for yourself that you start to respect yourself. You start to love yourself, right? Everyone says, hey, just love yourself. Love yourself. What does that mean? Because it feels like a lot of us, a lot of times, just like, I can't love myself. I know what I've done. I know who I am. I cannot love myself. There's a huge difference between love and acceptance. Okay? Don't expect to accept yourself the way you are. Because the human brain only accepts perfection, and we aren't that. If someone does something wrong, I will not accept that wrong thing that they did. It's wrong, period, right? However, I can love them even if I don't accept what they do. Let's say you have someone who is being a bully to one of your friends, right? And they are your friend also. So you have a friend who's being a bully to one of your other friends. You should not accept that they're a bully. You should not accept that. You should say, hey, you can't do that, right? That's not good. But you should love them. And what does it mean to love? It means to desire the best for them. And by not accepting them, you are actually loving them because you're desiring the best for them. Because you can't both accept them and desire the best for them at the same time because they're not perfect, and that's okay. But you can encourage better behavior, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what loving is. So if you love yourself, right? To love yourself is not to accept every part of you that's broken. It's okay that it's broken. You're a piece of beautiful, absolutely beautiful piece of work in progress. And how far you've already come is mind-blowing. And it's hard to see it, but it is. Mm-hmm. If you think about all of your accomplishments, you can't even count them. You can't even remember them. And I'm not talking about I'm talking about accomplishments since you were born. Like, hey, I learned how to walk. I learned how to speak English. I learned how to know this word, this word, this word, this word, this word, this word, all of the words in the English dictionary that I know. I know how to spell a lot of them. I know what the spelling system is. I know, etc. Right? You have an insane amount of things going on in your brain that you cannot even comprehend all at once. And you can't even count them. The amount of accomplishments that you have, right? But my point is, if you look at yourself, right, and you are being hard on yourself. It's okay, right? Because you want to get better, and you need to, in order to love yourself properly. You have to be a little hard on yourself. That's called tough love, right? But you have to take that love with the respect of to desire the best for self, right? If I desire the best for myself, that's what love is, to desire the best for someone and being willing to take action for it. So love yourself. Don't expect to accept every broken flaw of you, but just desire the best and start working towards that. And that will help you with a lot of your problems. But anyways, I know I talked for quite a while. I'm going to give it back over to Joe and let him speak his wisdom.
My wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh, hey, David. Ikinakakalak kong makilala kayo, David.
Is that Tagalog?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Kamusta ka na?
You know, it's funny. During COVID, I've gotten the chance to go to church in the Philippines sometimes.
Oh, yeah?
It's very interesting because part of the mass is in English and part of it's in Tagalog. And yeah. Ooh,
I went to a Filipino mass in the Philippines when I was there. And yes, it was that way. It was like half of the mass was in Tagalog and half of the mass was in English. And it was just like, guys, make up your mind. Like in the Philippines, they speak their sentences like a quarter of every sentence is English. And so you can pick up on a lot.
Wow. That's
maybe
really
not
interesting.
whole quarter, but yeah, it's a lot of it.
That's interesting how English has polluted the world's languages.
Yeah, I love it. I love this pollution.
At any rate, well, you know, I love what you were talking about, Ryan. And I think one of the important things to remember as you're navigating this, Meow, is, you know, you've already taken a great step just by noticing these things about you and bringing them to light.
Yeah.
Because really, that's one of the main things. You can talk about AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. One of the first step is to admit that there's an issue that needs to be addressed, right? That's the first step. And you know, Ryan and I are both Catholics, so we go to confession. I go to confession a lot. Or I need to. Anyway.
Good. I need to too. I just need to get in there.
But at any rate, you know, but one of the keys there is like these things that are bad that we regret or feel guilty for, these things we don't like about ourselves. One of the things about this is it's a foreign object. This does not define you. Your feelings here, your feelings of worry, your feelings of overwhelm, your feelings, you know, where you're not good enough, all these feelings, they are foreign. They are experiences you have that come from outside. They don't define you. So you can redefine yourself. You can repent. You can turn from those. Now, sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's a habit. Sometimes it's something we've just gotten into this rut of feeling this way. And it can feel like there's no way out. But one of the keys, the first step is awareness. And then one of the things that was so helpful to me was just the understanding that this is not who I am. It doesn't tell me who I am. This is just something I'm experiencing right now. And so then how do I deal with it? How do I work with this, and how do I get past it? And depending on the issue, you know, sometimes the strategy is different, but I do like what Ryan was talking about as well, whereas, you know, the thing about my thoughts where I just say, thank you, you're dismissed. If I'm feeling overwhelmed, that one sticks out to me, the overwhelm in your topic, because I've had lots of chances to be overwhelmed, and I've been overwhelmed a lot, you know, and it seems to be a way that I work myself into these things. Like I accept a lot of tasks and flood myself with lots of things to do. And then before I know it, I'm overwhelmed. And I'm like, oh my gosh, there's no way I'm going to get all this done. There's no way. Or whatever. So the key then is like, okay, wait a second. I have to prioritize. I have to actually look at all these things and I have to pick the ones that I'm going to do. Or sometimes it's one big task that I'm overwhelmed about. I have to divide it into many tasks, into many little ones that I can then do. And sometimes, I know I've said this before on the stream, but like I can remember when I was really struggling with working on on a music project, and I had to break it down to the task of clicking the icon on my computer to open the project. And if I completed that task, I had a win.
It gets rough sometimes, guys.
Yep, that's it sometimes. It's amazing. But, you've already come so far just by identifying this and just by bringing it to light and shining a light on it, because that's one of the things most of us hide, for a long time. And I would do that too. I'd just kind of say, well, it's just a part of me, I'm not even going to address it because this is just how I am, and I am who I am, and this is just part of me. And when you discover, wait, no, this isn't part of me. This is just an experience I'm having. This doesn't identify who I am. I'm not an overwhelmed person. I'm not a worrier. I'm just experiencing worry right now. I'm just experiencing this right now. Okay. And I can choose to not be experiencing this. We do have that choice. We're not always aware of the choice. But we always have a choice of how we're feeling. And like Ryan was saying, we can turn ourselves around like that. But sometimes we got to start small and just turn ourselves a little bit, because we might be in the habit of just going down this path and being that way, right? So we're not aware of how do I turn myself around? How do I just flip the switch and go back? And that can take some practice. So just understand, as you work through this, be patient with yourself. Be forgiving of yourself. It's okay. While we all have an ideal we're trying to live up to, while we all have, hey, if I want this great life, if I want to live this way, we all have a great idea of how we're supposed to live. And a lot of times we feel like we're failing miserably. At least I do. And it can take some time to readjust. And so with grace, applying grace to yourself while holding yourself to a high standard, like Ryan was talking about, and, speaking wisdom to yourself, speaking truth to yourself, holding yourself to that high standard, but also understanding you're human and you're going to fail, and it's okay, because you're playing the long game. You're playing this game for the rest of your life. And, even though perfection is out there, I don't think we get to attain it. Very, very few people get to attain that while here on earth. And so it's really just a process. We just get better. We just try and we get better. We try and we get better, and we fail and we forgive ourselves, and we try and we get better, and we notice something else about ourselves and we repent of that. We turn. We're like, wait a second, I don't like this about myself. I'm going to change it. I want it to change. And in that desire comes the beginning of the turn. And then once you start to turn, it's like, okay, this feels kind of weird because I'm stuck here. And then sometimes we need to apply that grace and forgiveness to ourselves and understand, you know what? I'm trying. I'll try again tomorrow. Sometimes I just need to take a nap, try again. But anyway, know that we love you. Well, at least I do. And Ryan loves you more than I do because he's capable of more love than me.
Joe's more
Just
humble.
look at him. You can tell.
Just look at him. What? That's not a compliment, dang it. Wow, look at that. Look at that person. He's so humble. Just look at him.
I said lovable.
I know. I said humble.
Oh, you
and
said
I
humble.
felt bad about it because I'm like, that sounds so mean. It's not meant to be.
Anyway, Ryan, what do you got? You got anything to wrap up with?
I just want to say, yeah, on note of being overwhelmed, I understand that Don't Worry Wednesday can be overwhelming sometimes. So feel free to take a second or a third listen to what we've kind of been over today. I remember in the recent past, I used to listen to a lot of people speaking from stages and things like that, kind of like TED Talks, but not exactly. Some of them religious, most of them not. And I used to listen to these like all the time, right? Joe did too.
I did.
And you would
I did.
pop them in the CD player or whatever. I mean, we would listen to them together.
Mhm.
But anyways, you would listen to them and you'd be like, wow, that was so good. That was so deep. I learned so much. It was great, full of wisdom and so on. And then you listen to it a second time and you start to notice things you didn't notice. And you listen to it a fourth time and an eighth time. And then the 16th time, you're like, wait a minute. I listened to this 16 times before and I never noticed this. This is huge. That's such a powerful statement. Oh my gosh, I love it. Do that. Sometimes you need to go listen to something, like when someone's talking to you or you're listening to a talk or whatever, and they're giving advice or sharing wisdom from their own life. Sometimes you need to listen to it a couple times through before you can really unravel everything. It doesn't, I mean, that's my experience at least. I'm sure that's the same experience with Joe. So feel free anytime to listen to this again. Now you have one more topic here called self-harm, which is a really great topic. And I think that's something maybe we'll get into next time, or we can get into later. The thing is, if you can start working on some of the stuff we already talked about today, realize that you are not your experiences. Those are just experiences.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as I wrote in the chat, you're not your baggage. You can set your baggage down and walk away. You can't do that with your heart. You know, as an example. So understand that, yeah, you've had failures. Yeah, you aren't perfect. But that doesn't stop you from being great, which is what you are. You are amazing. You are good. And it's wonderful that you're here in this world with us. And I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't wait to see what you do with your time that you spend here and how much of an impact you make on me, on Joe, all of us, and the whole world, right? And you have that ability. I'm just this dude who sits in my basement and works on music and talks to people. And I make an impact on people. I don't understand it. I'm not even that awesome. I'm not Taylor Swift. You know, I'm just some random dude.
Where did that come from?
Taylor Swift's more pretty than I am. She's like super pretty and she's got nice hair. So
hey, you know, you've got nice hair.
Yeah, but I'm not pretty
You're not
like
so bad
Taylor
yourself.
Swift.
Well,
huh? I don't know. I'm just a random person, all right? Fine, whatever. I'm not George Washington, okay? I'm not George Washington.
I'm glad you're not George Washington, because then
he's prettier than I am.
Even though we'd share a birthday, you'd not be alive anymore.
Great.
Then I wouldn't get to hang out with you.
Anyways, if I can make an impact on people, surely you can too. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you just got to be hard on yourself, but realistic and say, you know what? I can't expect too much out of myself. What the heck? I'm just me. But I'm awesome. Because I can make decisions. I can make choices every single moment of the day. And I can choose to be awesome right now. Mm-hmm. So go forth and be awesome, my son. And My child. Okay.
Bless you, my child.
Yeah, bless you, my child. Anyways, yeah, that's what I got. Self-harm, maybe we'll talk about that another time. But if you start to work on the things that we talked about earlier, you will hopefully see, just out of natural reaction, the self-harm to start die down.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's what I got. Thank you so much for the topics. And
yes, and thank
Joe
you.
said, thanks for being open about it. Thanks for noticing these things about yourself and coming forward with them and willing to move forward in your life with this stuff. I think that's so awesome. So mad props, applesauce.
And I've got new music to try now, thanks to you. The Celeste Piano Collection. I'm gonna check that out. I already Googled it. I believe it's the one by Trevor Allen Gomes.
Do they use a Celeste though?
I don't know. I haven't listened to it yet.
Do they play on a piano or do they play on a Celeste?
I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't listened to it yet. This is
that
this
doesn't
is going to be a new experience for me.
I gave you two choices and you said yes. Oh, it's from a video game, so they don't play on a Celeste. They play on a piano. Okay. If you guys don't know what that is, you can look it up. Just Google it. It's an instrument.
Oh, it's from a video game called Celeste.
Yeah, I figured that. Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, feel free once you're done with this or whenever you want. Feel free to play what we've play us again and check us out once more, because sometimes you'll discover things you missed in the while your brain was thinking. But anyways, yeah, on to the next topic.
Onwards and upwards.
Onwards and upwards. And sorry to anybody else for spending so much time on that. There were a couple topics in there, and we want to do our best to get through them and give them the best we can. So I'm going to go through the list of names again. If you are here, please write in the chat so that I can see you and we can do your topic. We've got Sevlev, SK, Awkward Pika, Jesse, Con Vulcan, Amira, Random, Catjet, Ian Lam, Vanna V, Baka, and there's an anonymous one in here, which I'm assuming is with us, just because we just got it. So
Catjet's here.
Catjet is here. Hey,
wow, and that's from way back in January. Look at that.
That's fantastic. Catjet, do you mind if we do yours? It's titled Handling Responsibility. Now, Princess is the one that went ahead and posted it for you on our website. But would it be cool if we could do it? Meow said put it last for now. Yeah, totally.
But not forever last. Just warning you.
Yeah, not forever last.
We had a keel. We learned it.
Yes, that's true. We used to have someone who would always say last every single episode. And we would never get to him. So, anyways, that's awesome. Thank you, Catchat. This is from Catchat, and it's titled Handling Responsibility.
Hey, there's the link. Look at that. Did you see that?
Thanks, Princess.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
I'm going to click it. I just clicked it.
Oh, you cheater.
Nice.
I clicked
it.
it.
You can paste it?
You guys can click it too. I'm going to paste it because it's now verified.
And how did that word become the word it is? Paste. What? I mean, paste is like when you mix solids with liquids, and it's like for example, toothpaste or dough is kind of like a paste. Frosting is a paste. Be called
plaster.
A plaster, yeah. But why is it copy and paste?
Did you ever eat paste when you were a kid?
No. Did it feel like you were copying something or printing something out that you had just
you
previously
used
copied?
it to attach things to things, and you're attaching this stuff to these words to this thing. Okay. What you copied, you're attaching it, and that's what paste was for.
Okay.
Now, yes, it's true.
That makes sense.
Toothpaste, like, you're not going to clean your teeth with the words you just copied. For sure.
Wow. But they can sure leave you with a dirty mouth. So take it away, Princess.
Yes, please save us.
I often find myself unable to pick up responsibility to do my homework, and my grades have been suffering for it. I also often don't know how to start homework or exams because my mind is all over the place and I can't bring a coherent string of thought onto paper, even though I might have had all the info required for the task. If it gets to the worst, my thoughts turn into a negative spiral, worrying more about how I'm not getting work done and how the possibility of failure is getting more likely for the time ticking down, and also other worries like the future in my life chime in to distract me. This has been plaguing me in my homework and exams. I wanted to know how you two, one, managed to get yourselves to do something you presumably didn't want to do, school and other things, and two, get something started and done, especially with only limited time to do so, like in exams. From Katja.
This is a fantastic,
great questions. Oh yes,
yeah, fantastic question, and I think that Joe is going to be able to handle it exceptionally well. Joe is someone that I look up to in this category. As for myself, when it's you know, doing things that I don't want to do, one of the important things that I recognize right away is it's up to my brain to decide whether I like something or not. You know, when I say like, oh, I don't like the sound that wood makes when it hits other wood.
You don't like that
Just a random
sound?
thing. I do. I'm just making a
Beautiful.
weird example. Some people don't like the sound of styrofoam or the sound of chalk on a chalkboard. So some people don't like nails on a chalkboard. Some people it gives the chills.
Some people love it.
Yeah, some people love it. Here's the thing. I immediately recognize that you have all sorts of different people out there and they like different things. Who's to say I can't learn to like something? Right? When I notice that I don't like something, I immediately go, "You don't like that, Ryan? What are you, a failure? Like what? Like, well, you're not strong. You're not good enough to like that, huh? Like, I'm not a weakling. What are you talking about? I can like it too. Watch." And then I try to like it, because there's so many amazing things out there in the world, and I can choose to like it if I give it the time. If I can come at it with an enjoyable attitude, like, where can I find joy in this? Let's really sift through this project and find what entices me, find what I enjoy about it, and then enjoy working on it. When it comes to physical labor, I used to hate it so much. Now, I don't mind physical labor. I think it's great. But I had to come at physical labor with a good attitude first. I had to look at it and go, you know what? I'm sick and tired of hating this. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Let's go put a smile on my face and start working on this project that I know is going to be a lot of hard physical work. But let's do it with a good attitude. Let's just enjoy it. Let's learn how to, let's just do it. Let's go. It'll be good exercise. Sure. I don't really care to have exercise, but it'll be good exercise. Sure. It'll, get me doing something. I'll be sweating. That'll be cool too. Like, I know people who like to sweat. I should learn to like that too, so that I'm not put off by it when I do it. So I'm not, so that I don't drag my feet all throughout my entire life. Why don't I just have a good attitude about sweating, enjoy it, and just do it, So for me, my first response to that is attitude, perception. Those things are huge when it comes to getting myself to do something that I don't like. With that, I'm gonna give it over to Joe, and he's gonna share some wisdom and tips with us that'll surely help and get you going.
Oh, thank you, Ryan. One thing I gotta say is pay attention to Arakachi in the chat. Arakachi is the person I was speaking about earlier that sent me the link to the 16 personalities thing. Got a chance to speak with her in the voice chat over the weekend, and it was really, really awesome and enlightening.
Absolutely.
And wonderful. And she's actually in school for psychology, like almost done with school, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, she's
like
right by the end of probably by the end of this year, she'll be a psychology major, I believe,
or graduate.
Yeah, sorry, have a major in it. Graduate?
Yeah,
graduate,
like have a degree in it. Like not.
There you go. Have a degree. See, clearly I'm not very smart, but Joe is. So I'm going to give it over to him and let him talk.
I think she's been a psychology major for a while. But anyway, so there's going to be some good stuff. Graduating in one more semester. Yeah. So So there's going to be some good stuff. Like, this is a person that's actually studied this stuff, right? I mean, Ryan and I are basically coming at you with, like we say in our disclaimer early on, you know, we're not professional psychologists or psychiatrists or anything like that. We just want to offer some love and encouragement and maybe some perspective, but just because while you're navigating these things, and in this case, there might be some psychological reasons for distraction, and it can be very helpful to see a professional or to get some professional advice. And so I always want to steer people toward that, and not to feel ashamed. There's a little bit of a stigma of seeking professional help in our society sometimes, and we think, oh, you know, I don't want to be one of those people that has a therapist or whatever like that. And it's like, no, that these people studied these things for a reason to help.
And it's one of those things too, you know, just to touch on that for a quick moment. In the world, we interact with people all the time. And in the old world, there was a lot more interaction that went on, and there was a lot more talking about deep subjects and talking about, you know, wisdom and things like that. That doesn't happen nowadays so much. We need psychologists and psychiatrists and things like that because we lack that in the world today. So when you go see someone like a therapist, realize that we all should have therapists. We all have people that we go to with our problems because we know and we can trust in them that they are, that they're going to be able to help. I can go to Joe. I can go to my brother. I can go to a lot of wonderful people at BSS. All right. But if you don't have someone like that in your life, you're supposed to. And so don't ever feel off put by having a therapist. You're supposed to have one. It's just that you in your life and your circumstances don't have that person. And so you can go and find that person. And they're going to have studied it, and they're going to be better than a lot of us here at BSS. So I just wanted to say that just to clarify, like, it's a normal thing to have someone to talk to about issues that can walk you through them. Like, that's why elders are held so highly in ancient civilizations, because they were the therapists. And generally speaking, you know, passing down their wisdom and all that. But anyway, sorry to take it away, Joe.
No, that's totally fine. I mean, to have the perspective of a person who understands the inner workings of the mind a little bit and can kind of and notices things that maybe we don't. You know, when I was after I, you know, dropped out of college and had a nervous breakdown and all that kind of stuff, and I was in therapy, that particular therapist that I went and saw was so essential to me getting back on my feet and to, you know, figuring some things out about myself and, you know, helping me understand that I'm not broken, right? Like, it's okay. And so, yeah, so I definitely want you to definitely pay attention to if Arakachi says some stuff here about this topic. She said she had some psychological advice that absolutely take that into account, please, because, you know, that's coming from someone who's studied this. Now, from my perspective, your question is, how do you manage to get yourself to do something you presumably didn't want to do and get something started and done, especially with only limited time to do it? So, and there are a lot of reasons why we might get distracted. And then the question is, okay, how do we do it? How do we get ourselves to sit down and do it? For me, one of the key things is I have a list of the things I'm trying to accomplish. Just 3. I have a short-term goal, a medium-term goal, and a long-term goal. And I look at those every day. Sometimes multiple times a day. I try to do it twice a day, where I look at them and I think, okay, is there anything that I can do to move me toward that? Is there any idea I can think of that's going to move me toward that? And I'll just put that task in my little tick account, and then I will address it the next day and I'll say, okay, do I have time to do this today? Is this a priority for me to do today? Or is it something I need to put off? And I kind of like, I build my to-do list. So sometimes we have something urgent, like, we've got some homework, or we've got, an exam coming up and we got to study, and, we've got things that are pressing and they're important and we have to take care of them. There are a couple tricks that I play on myself. One is I put them on my to-do list for the day, right? So I have a list that I'm working from, and I'm doing this. Now, if I'm having trouble getting myself to do it, one of my key weapons that I'll pull on myself is setting a timer. I think to myself, okay, what is a manageable or palatable amount of time that I can be doing this and not have the life sucked out of me? Especially if it's something I really don't want to be doing, or something that's going to be really tough, I'll set a timer for like 20 minutes or maybe a half an hour or something like that. And I'll just be like, all right. And I've even set a timer for 10 before it's like, okay, I'm going to be tired of doing this after 10 minutes. So I'm going to set a timer for 10 minutes. I'm going to do it for 10 minutes. And when the timer goes off, I'm going to be done, at least for now. And I'm going to take a break. Right? And like I said, I use an app called TickTick, not TikTok, TickTick, TickTick. And I think there's some kind of timer involved in that too. We all have a timer on our phone or on our computer or whatever. You just set a timer for however long. And you're just like, okay, boom.
On your stove.
On your stove. Yeah. On your microwave.
In your microwave, just run the microwave for 20. No,
you don't have to run the microwave.
Yeah, you do, man. You gotta turn it on. You gotta hear the buzzing to keep you.
Oh, yes. But it's amazing because just having a timer, there's a couple things that happen to me when I do this. And that is, one, I know there's a limit. So if it's something I don't want to be doing, I know I'm going to be done in like 10 minutes. Right? It's not going to take my whole day. So that's the first thing. And so that helps me be able to do it, because I'm just like, okay, this is for a limited time. I'm not going to have to deal with this all day. It's going to be done. And I can see the numbers ticking down, right? That's awesome. But here's the other thing that it does to me, almost inadvertently. And it happens this way for most people that I know. And that is, it gets us to actually work harder. Because in our mind, we're kind of like this, oh, time's ticking. Let's see how much I can get done. Or let's see, how can I get as much done as possible in this amount of time? And it causes us to focus and get that laser beam intensity on it. And just like, okay, I'm going to get done. And then the timer goes off and I'm like, I was so close. And then maybe I'll just finish it. See, this is the beauty of it. Like, I used to get, I'm a bit of an idealist, so I like rules and I like to follow them and stuff. And if I don't agree with a rule, I have no problem breaking it. So it's got to be a rule I agree with. But at any rate, if I set a rule for myself that I'm going to stop at this point in time, then it's like, I got to stop at that point in time. And I can't finish it. I do this with writing exercise I do every morning, where I'll set a timer for 10 minutes. And this is an exercise in writing lyrics and writing, feeling words. And I just let my mind go in whatever direction. And I write words that are about feelings and stuff like that, right? Like sensations. And so I'm just writing and writing and writing and writing and writing, and then the timer goes off, and I might be in the middle of writing a letter, like the letter A.
And you'll pull your pencil.
And I'll be like,
that's half a letter. That's awesome, dude. That's amazing.
And sometimes I write the whole word. Sometimes I write the whole set because sometimes it's a really good idea. And I'm like, I could use this in a song lyric. So I better write this thing down.
Mm.
Right. So there are those moments too. But you get to make up the rules for this. Okay. You're in charge. But those are some things that help me. One, having a list of things I need to do. And I like to have the checklist and check them off. And if it's too big, if it's something that's going to take me a long time, then I know that that is too big of an item. I need to break it down a little bit. So, like for instance, I had a task recently that was, write a song for this project. And I just would never do it. And it sat there on my list for days and days, and it went late, and I'd have to re-up it every day. And it'd be like, okay, I'm going to retry this again. What I found was it was too big. I had to break it down. I had to break it down a little bit more. It's like, okay, so write a song. That's too big of a task. And it's a little bit vague too anyway. So what are the steps that lead to writing a song? Oh, pick up my guitar and play it. Huh. But you know what? My guitar is kind of, the strings are old on it. Excuse me. And I don't feel like playing my acoustic guitar. I really wish I had an electric guitar. And so then I'm like, well, I have to shop for an electric guitar. And then I was like, wait a second. I have an electric guitar. And then I had to clean it all up and, make some adjustments and put new strings on it and everything. So that was a project. And so, but it's all in moving me forward, right? And the thing is, if you have your task and it just looks overwhelming and you're like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Like you might have this whole packet of homework to do. Maybe you just do one page at a time. Maybe you break it down and do half a page at a time or one question at a time. I've done that with my kids before, helping them with their homework. Where it's like, okay, all you have to do before we can go play Minecraft for an hour is this set of questions. That's all you have to do. And he was like, all right. So we worked on it together. He got those questions done. And I'm like, I looked at the clock. I was like, dude, that took you 2 minutes. What else on there can you get done? How long do you think it'll take you to get these other couple questions done? And he's like, I don't know. And so he did that, And I was like, okay, we're up to 7 minutes. Why don't you finish the other side of the page? And then the whole thing's done. And so you can play that game on yourself as well, where it's like you look at the clock and you're like, okay, well, I got that done. And that only took me like 3 minutes. And it's like, okay, well, I can do these other questions. And then it's like, man, and then it kind of becomes like this competition you're having with yourself. Like, how quick can I get the rest of this stuff done? And it becomes a game. But the minute you start to feel overwhelmed, it's okay to pull back. It's okay to take a break. But then on your break, I would also set a timer as well. And get yourself kind of psyched up again. Like, okay, all right. And I'm going to start it again. I'm going to do another timer. I'm going to do 10 minutes on, 30 minutes rest. All right. Whatever the ratio you got to do.
Whatever gets the job done.
Yep. Setting timers for breaks. Or, because seriously, or else you'll just take a break for perpetual break. But anyway, those are some of the things I do to trick myself into getting done. Ryan's got some other stuff, I'm sure. So I'm going to turn it over to him. Ryan?
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Joe. Yeah, I've got a few tricks. I've mentioned them on Don't Worry Wednesday before, but I'm not sure if you were here yet. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about it. One thing that my mom taught me. So I have ADD, also known as ADHD. And I went through school with ADD, and it was very difficult, especially at home, trying to do homework and things like that. So my mom wanted to help me. So what she did is she would basically give me little rewards. She would say, okay, just do these 10 problems, just these 10, and you can have one of these Swiss cake rolls. And they come in a pack of 2. I'm going to set the Swiss cake rolls right here in front of you. You just do 10 problems and you can have one of them. All right. And once you finish 10 and you have that one, do the last 10. And then you can have the other Swiss cake roll. And I'm like, I don't really care about Swiss cake rolls all that much, but that still got me fired up. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this. You know? So you can play yourself. You can play your mind. Recognize human beings are animals, right? We might be not quite the same as most of the other animals out there. But how do you train a dog? How do you train a dolphin? How do you train a cat?
Swiss cake rolls.
Swiss cake rolls. Now, treats, right? Rewards, right? Dolphins are a little bit different than dogs, but even still, people say like dolphins are extremely smart, etc. They still respond to the reward system. If you want to teach a dog how to shake, you try to make it shake, you show it how to do the thing, and then you give it a reward. You give it a treat. Or you let it go play outside. You want to go outside? You want to go outside? Yeah? Okay. Shake. Shake. Yes. Good dog. All right. Go outside. Right? You can train yourself also in that same way. You can get yourself to work. So there are things that you're not going to want to do in life. But if you recognize the reward is there, that can really get you going. You know, Joe was talking earlier about having desire to work at something, right? And when you can pump yourself up, you can recognize, hey, the thing I'm going to do is going to affect a lot of people in the long term, right? And that'll get you fired up and you start thinking about it. And if that fuels your fire, use that. The long-term picture is a reward. And like I said before, when I started this, attitude is huge. Attitude can really, really set the stage for your performance when it comes to getting things done, especially things you don't want to do. Because you can choose to, you know, look at this homework and go, it's not that bad. Actually, it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. And you just do it with that attitude. You're like, you know what? I can find ways to make this enjoyable. I can find things in this that I like. So it's kind of fun. You know, it's not too bad. And then you start doing it, right? Then you can get yourself to work. But the reward system is a good way to train your brain to like to do it. Mm-hmm. Because much like an animal, like a dog, for example, at some point, just doing shake and they shake your hand without any reward because they enjoy shaking, because you have programmed in their head the habit that shaking is a good feeling. Because it always comes with a reward, but the reward is a good feeling. And now that's attached in their brain. The attachment of joy is now attached to this action. And now whenever they perform this action, it sparks the chemicals in their brain that signal joy, right? And you can do that to yourself by giving yourself rewards, you know, when you do your homework. Because then your brain will start to signal those higher helpful emotions, that emotion of joy while you're working on your homework and you're not even getting a reward for it yet. And you're just like, yeah, you know, this feels good. And it should feel good. Hard work is good. It builds character. It makes you a strong individual. You know, a lot of people, they go to work, they hate their jobs out in the real world. Like lots of people hate their jobs.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty common.
Totally wrong attitude. Because when you work, sure, it might be like, I'm not helping anybody with my work. My work is like, you know, it's not really doing much for the world. The world doesn't need me doing this, right? Well, you just help that person. You just made a difference in their life. You know, it might have been something small like, hey, they ordered food at McDonald's and you took it. And that's nice, you know? Sure, a computer could do that. Actually, they do. But you know what? The problem is that when you go to work, your attitude can be wrong. Your opinion can be wrong. You know, your opinion can set you up for failure. I would call that a wrong opinion. If you look at your work and you say, this work, it might not be something special, but it builds in me character. It builds inside of me strength. It builds inside of me a good heart. It builds inside of me good work ethics. It builds inside of me lots of great things. It makes me a better man. And that's worth something. Even if I'm not doing that much for society, that's still worth a ton, because now I get to go out into society as a better man. And I can make a huge difference, a lot better of a difference than if I complained and didn't do my job and then, you know, said I hate work and all that kind of stuff and didn't respect it for what it is. It's a beautiful thing.
Do you imagine that the guy that makes the Swiss cake rolls, the guy that showed up at the factory, do you think he really loved his job that day? That he made the
Probably
Swiss
not.
cake roll that sat in front of you while you did your homework?
He made a difference in my life.
He did.
Mm-hmm.
And he might have
didn't even
gone to
know it.
work and he is like, man, this shift is terrible. I got to get up early. You know, this is dumb. And, you know, and I just sit there and watch the vat of the chocolate, you know, and make sure that nothing gets in it, you know, or not as many things as should be in there, you know. And there you are, and you get the Swiss cake roll.
Yep.
And you get to play the little game. Maybe you played the game like I did, where you see how much of it you can unroll without it breaking.
Oh yeah, buddy. Swiss cake rolls are a game, dude. No, they're like toys that you could eat for sure. You start with the chocolate. You chip off the little
the
parts
little
that are
chip,
solid stuck, and
Uh-huh.
then all of a sudden that whole thing will just come unravel, and you're like, sweet, it's like a blanket coming right off. It's like, oh geez, that chocolate's not even attached to the cake. Ah, sweet. All right, now we can unroll it. All right, now let's see if we can separate the cream from the cake.
Yes, how do we do that?
Yeah.
I never got very far before I just was
Yeah,
like,
well, it would break. And when I got older, at some point, I was like, I'm too lazy to do it. Like, I don't want to spend all that time playing with my food. I'm just gonna eat it. Hey, this actually tastes pretty good when they're all together, like wrapped up into one. I'd never eaten it this way before. I've only ever eaten one thing at a time. Well, it's not bad. I can see why these sell, you know?
Don't worry, Wednesday, brought to you by Swiss Cake Rolls.
Yeah. I think Hostess. Is it Hostess? I think it is.
I think it's Little Debbie, actually.
Oh, Little Debbie's Swiss cake rolls. Yes, Little Debbie. It's not Hostess.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Anyway,
so
sorry, I didn't mean to derail you.
Great. What you said though before that is true. You know, the guy who goes there and he makes that, he doesn't realize that he's making something that I'm going to consume and it's going to compel me to work harder, right? He wouldn't know that. That's a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
So my point is, work is a beautiful thing. People who go to work and they say, I hate work, you know, I don't get anything out of it, and, you know, so on. You don't get anything out of it because your attitude is in the wrong place. Your opinion about it is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You can get so much out of it, and you can give so much with it. And it's true, too, for whatever work you're doing. Even if it's just homework, school, and all you're doing is getting a grade. You know, doing that when you don't want to, that builds strength. That builds character.
Mm-hmm.
That builds determination. That builds work ethic. That builds in you a greater you, which you can take out into the world and give greater. And that's an awesome thing. The capacity to receive is also dependent upon your character. Mm-hmm. Because some people, they receive and they can't handle it. They take it and they feel like they have to hoard it. They have to hold on to it. They get so attached where it ultimately means nothing. It drags them down to the ground and they live a miserable life. Mm-hmm. And they think that the only thing that will make their life better is if they get more stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter how much stuff they get, they're only happy for a moment with it before that drags them down too, because they have to hold on to it, or else if they let go of this, what could happen? They could be sad. It's like you're already sad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's unfortunate. And I'm not trying to make fun of it. I'm trying to say that stinks. That stinks to be in that situation. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? When you work on yourself, when you become strong, you can take that. You can take things without having to feel that emotion, without having to feel that attachment, because you inside are strong and yourself is not reliant upon those objects. You recognize those objects are just things. And and it makes you more capable of having more. So it means that you can go out and earn more and be responsible with it and do more for others, do more for yourself, and do more for your family, right? So those are all great things, and they all stem from building who you are inside. And this counts. Doing your homework. As stupid as that is, it's true. It's true. So my point is not necessarily like, I don't think that's going to encourage you to do your homework, because it's a great statement and it's true. I just want to remind you that it's true, because there are going to be moments where you're doing homework and you're like, there's no point in this. I'm going to forget this in like 14 days anyways. I'm not going to need this for the rest of my life. Both of those things are true. But it still moves you forward as a human being. And that moves the rest of the world forward too. Mm-hmm. So it's important. Anyways, my main thing is a reward system. Play on that. You're an animal. It's okay. It's okay. You have a brain, and that's good. And you can use it. You can use yourself to your advantage, and do a lot of great things. So attitude and rewards. Mm-hmm. And then you said get something started and done, especially when you have only a limited time to do it. In exams, you start to worry about all these things. They flood your mind. I have ADD, so that happens to me too. When I only have a limited time to do something, it's like, then all of a sudden my brain is not focused. It's focusing on everything but that. Here's what I recognize. I've done myself in. I have prepared myself terribly for this moment. Mm. I have failed before I started. Now, I will try super hard to do the best I can. What do I do? Sometimes I just need to walk, clear my brain, and then get back to it. Mm. Like if I got all this clutter, I'm like, clearly I cannot focus on what I'm trying to do. Maybe I'll just go take a walk. And what I do is I like to just take like 2 steps away from what I'm actually working on and then pace like back and forth or in a circle around like a certain area of my house. And that's my walk. All right. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like walking outside, except for I'm not getting distracted by everything that's going on outside. I can just walk around in my dark room. And
because opening a door, man, that's terrible.
Oh, geez. And it's cold outside. Why would you want that? It hurts.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Or it's hot outside, and that's like, whatever. Or it's beautiful outside. Hey, oh my gosh, it's beautiful outside. I'm just enjoying this.
And now I want to stay.
Yeah. Just take a moment, pace, or whatever it is that you do when you're on the phone. And and let it all kind of wash off your brain and then get back to work. Just take 5 minutes. Sometimes that can help a ton. But what I meant before is I prepared myself for failure is this. I've noticed for me, if I spend too much time like in entertainment, mostly, if I spend too much time entertaining myself, it will keep me from being creative. It keep me from being able to focus, because it just blocks up my brain with too much information. It puts too much of other people's content in there, and I can't function as good as I'm supposed to be able to. What's his name? I always forget his name. The guy who did Apple. Steve Jobs. Yeah. He said, I will never give my kids tablets. And he didn't. He never gave his children the product he makes for other people. He never gave them to his children. Why? Because his thought was, if I give those children those things, they're not going to be bored. And whenever they are bored, they're just going to turn to that.
Mm.
I want them to experience boredom because that's where true creativity comes from. I want them to be successful in life. The more time you spend quenching your boredom with other people's great content, the more time you spend quenching your boredom, the less you're able to deal with it. And when you start working on your homework, you are bored to death and you can't deal with it. Your mind goes, this is really boring. This is really boring. Let's do something fun. Hey, I wonder if I could do this. Oh my gosh, I was playing a game the other day. Oh my gosh, let's just, you know what? I can't think anyways. Let's just go play a game. Or let's go watch this movie. Or let's go listen to a song. I can't do homework without having music on. That's a shame. You should be able to work without music. If your brain can't do that, you have programmed your brain for failure. But you can fix it. All it takes is spending a little more time in boredom. Spend some time in silence and enjoy the silence. Silence is such a beautiful and enjoyable thing. Mm-hmm. And if you can spend time there, when you get to work on your homework, it'll start to feel exciting. And it's not like, it feels like it would be, oh, my expectations of life have diminished, so now homework is even fun. That's not the case. It's just that your brain has been trained to go to certain places when it experiences boredom. And it's a bad habit. And we need to break that habit. Me, myself included, you know? That's why I said I notice this, because I have done this to myself. And it's those moments where I go, okay, I have been programming myself for failure. So at that point, I'm just going to walk away from all the entertainment. I'm going to give myself silence, and I'm going to enjoy it. And it might take a little while to break the habit. It might take like a week of silence. It might take 2 weeks of silence, but it might only take a day. It might only take 15 minutes. You know, if you start to feel like you're doing your homework and you can't get anything done, go take a break from everything. Don't go lay down in your bed and fall asleep. Don't do that. Go experience the silence. Pace and contemplate. Think, pace and contemplate in your boredom. There was a guy who once said, once I learned to be able to contemplate, or once I learned to be able to converse with myself about deep issues, right? I was never bored again. And that's true for me too, except if I spend too much time in entertainment, then I get bored quick with everything. So that's my advice to you. Hope that makes sense. And I hope it's not too big of a pill to swallow, because I know it can be difficult. But I'm going to give it back over to Joe. Joe, do you have anything else you want to say or follow this up with?
Big pills are tough to swallow.
They are. I've had that before. It's tough.
Yeah.
Especially the size of Pokeballs, man. Okay,
that'd be a big
I've
pill.
never tried that. That sounds terrible. Don't do it.
Don't swallow. Don't ever try to swallow a Pokeball.
Professional advice from a professional musician. Don't try to swallow a Pokeball.
Oh, yes. You know, I love what you were getting there at the end. To spend time in silence. I take time every morning and just exist. This is where the quote, if you were around for the first topic and you heard where Ryan was talking about, thank you, you're dismissed. These words I say. You know, this is how I get myself into a meditative and silent state where, you know, I'll sit there and I will just empty my mind, actively empty my mind, where I focus on breathing. And if a thought comes into my head, I don't fight it. I don't get upset about it. I just say, thank you, you're dismissed. And I let it go. And I let the thought just fade. And I get back to focus on my breathing. Now, sometimes it takes a while, and sometimes I'm just bombarded with lots and lots of thoughts. And there is a correlation with how many movies I've watched or how many video games I've played and how much time it takes me to empty my mind. Because, yeah, there are, like, a lot of times when we have filled our head with entertainment or different things like that, we have a whole bunch of foreign ideas in our head, like Ryan was talking about. These are other people's ideas, and they're not bad ideas. Sometimes they are, but most of the time,
Some ideas are terrible.
some ideas are pretty bad and harmful.
Yeah, they are.
Right?
Sorry, though.
But most of the time they're benign. They're not harmful ideas. They're not bad ideas. They just clutter, right? It's just mental clutter and fog. To clear that and spend just a few minutes in silence, just existing, is so refreshing. So refreshing. And then when you work, you start to pay attention to, Ryan was talking about rewards. The greatest reward. I mean, yeah, I've rewarded myself with things before. Sometimes it's been motivating, sometimes it's not. But one of the things, and I notice this especially with exercise, the feeling of accomplishment is a greater reward than anything I could give myself. And sometimes, like after I work out, I work out hard. I do HIIT workouts. I do high intensity interval training. And it's hard. And when I'm done, I'm laying on the floor gasping for air, usually. And it's like, and I feel good about it. And the whole rest of the day, I'm like, you know what? I did something today, man. I must have done some new exercises or something, or worked out a new way in my back yesterday because my back is really feeling it today. And it's sore. And I'm like, that hurts, but it tells me I did something. And it's like, yeah, to know that you're accomplishing, to know you're moving forward. That's why I like checking things off my list, my to-do list. It's like the more things I check off and the closer I get, like the smaller I make that list, the more energy I get to do more stuff. Because it's exciting, because to accomplish and to finish and to have those little victories, those are greater rewards than anything.
Mm-hmm.
And what you find out is that the work itself is a reward. The fact that we get to work, the fact that we get to put in effort is a reward in and of itself. And a lot of times when people are kind of blasé about their job, like Ryan was talking about, they're kind of, well, whatever. And most of the time it's because they're not really trying that hard.
That's true.
There are a lot of jobs
Not
out there
always.
you don't have to try that hard. But I tell you, when you throw yourself into what you're doing and you do it, you really do it, it gets fun. My mom was an anatomy professor for years at a college. She taught human anatomy and physiology. And that's a big subject with a lot of information. And it can get tough. And for a lot of teachers, it's just like, they're trying to get all this information into the semester and going, whoa, and like just, whoa, cramming all this stuff in. But man, I never took my mom's class, but I sat outside of her classroom and I listened to her teach one time. Actually, I did it more than one time because she was into it, man.
It's always easy to learn from someone who's into it.
Oh my gosh. She was tremendous to listen to. She had fun with all of it, and was excited about holding up lungs in her hands and like getting a bike pump and pumping it up with air and like all this crazy stuff, And there's this one tendon in the heart and lungs area, where you're doing the dissection or whatever. And there's this one tendon that's absolutely, you cannot pull it and break it. Like you'd have to cut it with something, right? It's just that strong. And she would always get, whoever's the strongest guy in the room, hey, you try and pull this apart, So he'd get up there, but all these things, but she was into it. And so when you can get yourself excited about what you're doing, that will go so far above and beyond. You will feel good about what you're doing. You'll feel good about yourself for doing it. And you'll get more done in less time than you ever thought possible. So a lot of times, like Ryan was talking about, it's just our attitude. You know, our attitude plays such a part. Like how we look at the task is so important. If I look at this like, oh my gosh, this is a big mountain of stuff. I got to do this. I can't even believe it. And I got to do this by now. Well, you know, I've learned to notice my mindset. Mm-hmm. It's like if I'm feeling like, I'm like, that's my mind. It's not the task. The task is neutral. The task is just the task. The task is not an entity or a being. I'm the one assigning an attitude to this task. And when I can train myself, okay, I've noticed, I'm not excited about this. How can I turn this around? It's tax season. I don't like doing taxes usually. I do them. I don't like it. But you know what? Maybe I'll try and flip that on myself. Like, I get to do some taxes.
Hey, only smart people get to do taxes.
Have you ever done taxes?
Joe does taxes.
Joe does taxes, and Joe Bohan
does
taxes.
Does taxes.
He's the tax
He's an
man.
And he gets excited about it.
He does. He's excited about all this stuff.
I'm helping
like,
people,
man,
you know?
Like, yeah.
It's fantastic.
Like,
I love that guy.
It's great. He keeps us so on track. Like, it's amazing. Like, financially, making sure that we're so far within the boundaries of tax law that we're never going to get in trouble.
Ever,
and put out of business because we forgot something, you know, tax related, you know, and that's so important. Because it's like, you know, we want to be operating well within those boundaries. But that's the thing. Like, so when you're looking at your mountain of work, or you're looking at this stuff you got to do, or the exam that's coming up and all the studying you have to do, notice your feeling. Pay attention. I'm feeling this way about that. The task isn't the cause of the feeling. You are. And it can be adjusted. And most of the time, it's a switch that you can learn how to flip. Sometimes it's not easy to learn. But you can say, you know what? I'm going to figure out how to flip this. And I'm going to try some different stuff. I'm going to try to learn to flip this. And what you find out is that doing things, accomplishing things, being active, those are the most fun moments. We think we're going to like it better if we sit back and watch a movie or play a video game or do nothing or whatever, right? But man, when we're in it and we're like doing something actively, that's way more fun when you get into it and you start doing it. And then you get to the end of the day, and if it's like Ryan was talking about earlier about labor, like manual labor, he hated manual labor. I'm not a big fan of it either. But you know what? At the end of a day, when you're just like, I'm kind of hurting. I worked really hard. So good. I shoveled a lot of dirt, and I moved a lot of rocks. You know? Or something. That is a reward at the end of a day of working hard. Like you talk about, you know, a lot of times farmers, sometimes they're the most, they feel the most satisfied at the end of a day because they've worked really hard. And you know what? And it's it's rewarding in and of itself. It's a beautiful thing how we're wired. So I'd encourage you, pay attention to your attitude, pay attention to your feelings, and learn and understand, like we talked about before, it's just an experience you're having. It's not you, it's not the task, it's your experience right now, and it can change. And I challenge you to try and change it. So that's all I have. Ryan,
Fantastic.
take us away.
Thank you. Nah, I mean, I think that's a great note to end it on. So thank you so much for the topic. Thank you everyone in the chat who's been talking about this topic and related issues. I think that's super awesome. You guys are super helpful, and we have such an amazing community where everyone's helping each other out and having a good time. Man, I mean, I don't know a better community out there. It's just so cool. You guys are all amazing, and I love you all so much. Our current runtime is 1 hour and 59 minutes, so it is time to shut it down.
Mhm.
But I appreciate all of you so much for coming out, spending your time with us. You know, we're just two guys, two mics, talking about two things, and giving you our 2 cents.
My name's not Mike.
Oh, my bad.
We're not two Mikes.
My bag. My bag.
My bag.
My bag. Who says that?
I think that was my mother-in-law.
Yeah, I
Used
think
to
so,
say-
yeah.
She's like,
Pretty sure that's
I
what
never. She's like, because people say my bad, and she thought it was my bag. She
That's
said
hilarious.
it. And we're
I
like,
love
did you
it.
just say my bag? She's like, yeah. She's like, that's not what it is. She's like, I wondered. That didn't seem like it. That didn't make any sense
like it
to
made
me.
sense to me, so I just said it. I've been saying it for like, I don't know, 15 years, but no one. Oh well.
My bag.
My bag. Oh, that's my bag. It's my bag right there. No, I actually mean it. Could you get my bag?
Yeah, Princess says nothing motivates like some good rock music. Look up a Single Duel. There's some good rock music in a Single
There you
Duel.
go. Listen and look up Single Duel, whoever that is, whoever composed those songs. Fantastic. Actually, I know those people. and they're
Mostly
amazing people.
Steve. Steve's.
Yeah, Steve
man.
and Joe. They did a fantastic job. And, you know, I'm right into you. I'm right into, you know, I enjoy the silence. I do almost all my tasks in the silence, and I perform much better that way.
Mhm.
Personally, I don't listen to music a whole lot. And that sounds really weird because everyone's like, aren't you a musician? Aren't you? It's like, isn't that what you're into? Like, right? Listen to music. Aren't you like, nah, I mean, whenever I want to hear music, I just open up a music file and start working.
Mhm. Yeah,
That's the extent of my music listening to.
that's amazing.
But anyways, I am big into power metal. I used to be huge into power metal. Like, I don't listen to it much anymore, but power metal is the only music for me because I'm laid back and I can't, like, there is never a reason to play something calm for me. Like, don't. It's pointless. It's like you're not doing anything.
You
In
don't
fact,
like Yanni?
when I hear calm music, I'm just like, could we put on something entertaining? Because this is not entertaining. It's just calm, which is my natural state. So I like things that go fast, like Sonic, because they make me want to go fast. It gets me going. It makes me like, yeah, let's go. It gets me pumped up and fired up. So I get it. Music can really get you going. But as you guys are talking about in the chat, it can be a huge distraction, and it can lead you ultimately into less productivity. I can understand maybe listening to get into it and then shutting it off.
Mhm.
You know, that might be the route to go. But yeah. Anyways,
They used to play.
fantastic
They used to
conversation
play
you guys had.
music at swim practices. I always wondered why.
Huh? That's weird.
They'd play music over the speakers at swim practice. It's like it must have been for the coaches because like we never heard it.
It must have been. It was probably
I
for the
wondered
coaches.
if
they
you came
were.
up for breath.
Yeah.
That's
I
true.
had
That's
fun doing
true.
breaststroke and
Yeah,
doing
you
that.
were
I
a
was like, oh
breaststroker.
yeah, I'm just enjoying this. It's great.
See, I was a distance freestyler. I spent the whole time like with my face buried under the water, and so I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have
Well,
a
I mean,
song
they
in
had
my
to get
head.
entertained, right?
I'd have
That's
some.
funny.
I remember in high school, I'd have like the Seal song "Kissed by a Rose" stuck in my head for swim
Ooh.
practice. and I'd just be
Nice.
like, and it's 6 a.m. I'm like, I'm gonna fall asleep
Oh.
in the water.
Oh no.
Anyway, you guys are awesome.
There's so much a man can tell you, so much he can say.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, ooh, get out of the water. You're drowning. You're sleeping in water. But did you know that when it snows, okay, the
You don't
water
wanna
becomes
be
colder
swimming
and
then.
ice gets popping, you just drown. It's bad. It's bad.
We should shut it down now, guys.
You remind me of a kiss. Okay.
But everybody wants to listen to Ryan sing.
No, that guy is terrible. Have you heard him sing?
I have.
Gosh,
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Exactly. See?
you guys don't know what
But-
you're talking about.
Also,
Yes,
I
it's
agree
10
with the
after 10.
statement. Didn't you write a song called Cheerfully Calm?
Yes,
Mhm.
I've written
one of my
plenty
favorites.
of calm songs. Yeah.
Doom,
I'm
doom, doom,
okay. I'm
doom, doom,
over exaggerating. I do enjoy
doom,
calm
doom,
music. It just doesn't do anything for me, right? Like some people are like, hey, it's getting towards the end of the day. I'm gonna play something calm and slow to calm myself down and get myself sleepy. That does not work on me. It's just like, this is calm music and it is what it is, and it has no impact apparently over how I feel, whether I'm sleepy or not. In fact, it keeps me awake. But it doesn't get me fired up. It just makes me like, can I turn it off? Because I'm not sleeping.
Can I turn this off?
Yeah, it's ruining the point. The whole point of it was so I could sleep, and I'm just not. All right.
yes.
Anyways, thank you all for being here. We love you all so much, and we hope to see you again next Wednesday on Don't Worry Wednesday. Boom.
Be here.
All right. See you guys. Peace.
Love you guys.